Happy monstering, everybody. How's it going? My name, as you may well know, is Monster Handler Matt, and I have with me today...
Monster Handler Eric. You may have seen me before on the Extra Life stream.
And we're very excited to be premiering our very first episode of the brand new My Singing Monsters live show right here on Twitch.
Incredible.
It is. It's some might even say that it's epic.
Very epic, this episode specifically. Not only because it's the first, because we have a lot of epic information coming up. Being the first, obviously, is not only monumental, but there might be a couple hiccups. We'll be working them out throughout the show if that happens.
So just bear with us.
Yeah, just stick with us. We'll get it sorted out. And like I said, we have a lot going on. So, why don't we talk about some of those things coming up?
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
Epic Maws is the big news right now.
That's right. Released just this past week officially for all players to buy and breed. The 9th, no, I believe the 10th epic to be discovered in the monster world. So that's cause for celebration in and of itself, but a uniquely anticipated epic because, of course, it was first revealed on our Extra Life live stream last weekend.
Very exciting clip where you almost got eaten.
Happy to report once again that I didn't suffer any lasting injuries. There was a little bit of, the sort of scuff up quality that you may expect from when being jumped upon by a singing monster, but I'm happy to report that I'm totally okay.
Of course. And it's not just Epic Maw we're going to be talking about today. It's epics in general, a little bit about their discovery, what makes them unique. If you have any questions about the epics, we'd love to hear them, because we'll be doing Q&A with the answers supplied from our own monster.
And I'll be bringing my A game. You got the Q's, boy. I've got the A's.
So, we do have some that we've stored out from previous people asking on Twitter and social media and the Extra Life stream. We will also be answering live questions, so make sure, type out your questions in the chat. We've got Monster Handler Sydney watching the chat, collecting your questions. Everyone say, "Hi, Sydney." And let's get those flowing in. If you don't get an answer to it on this stream, keep your eye out on future episodes, because we do store them, and we will be answering them ongoingly as we do.
That's right. As more episodes of My Singing Monsters Live are published and go to air.
Awesome. Now, along with questions, you know what else fans like to send us? Is art.
Yes, a lot of amazing works of art, Monsterpieces, we call them. So we'll be doing a Monsterpiece Spotlight later in this episode, where we will analyze and praise and discuss some of the amazing artwork that we receive on a daily basis from the My Singing Monsters community, and it might be fun to see your art dissected by the critics.
You can always add the hashtag MyStreamingMonsters to any art or any creative submission you have for us, and that will help us find it that much easier and get it featured on the show. I'll tell you what I'm particularly excited for is during the Extra Life 25-hour stream, we gave a few prompts, and we got some more art after the stream meeting some of those prompts, so I'm excited to see sort of those jokes still flourishing.
Oh, for sure, yes. There were a lot of inside jokes that came out as a result of our Extra Life stream, and I'm also excited to see what new life that the community has breathed into them.
Of course. Now, we also have an activity that we're going to be playing today. It's going to be myself and Monster Handler Michael. I'm having some trouble with that
Hander.
title today.
It's a two-hander with two handlers.
So,
hey, how do you like that?
That's exactly right. So myself and Mike will be playing an activity we like to call All Maws, No Paws. It'll be exciting. It'll be a little bit messy, and Matt will be judging. So you don't want to miss that. Speaking of the stream and what we did during the stream, one of the things we did was giveaways.
That's right. Over the course of the Extra Life stream, every hour on the hour, we distributed Monsters of People's Choice, starter packs, various packs of diamonds, and we're very pleased to be reporting that we will also be giving away something on this first episode of My Singing Monsters Live, and that is
the Epic Maw.
That's right, another Epic Maw. The very first Epic Maw was successfully achieved and collected by one of our players, by JMLol20. Is that the username?
Yes,
JMLol?
I believe that's right.
And that was the very first Epic Maw to be collected in the world of My Singing Monsters, and coincidentally, the same one that attacked me. So it's got sort of a storied history.
A little bit of history, yeah.
There, yeah. So it comes with a little bit of baggage, but maybe that's the sort of baggage you want, i.e. contact with the monster handlers.
Now, as you mentioned, that was one during Extra Life, and that was simply for watching the stream. No other criteria necessary, and that's exactly how our giveaway will be criteriized. I have no idea on that one. But if you watch this stream, you will be eligible to get
That's
the
all you
Epic
need to
Maw.
do. That's all you need to do.
No
It's just
commenting, no emailing,
To
no
have
nothing.
tuned in.
Just stay and watch.
That's
so,
right.
Monster Handler. As a distinguished monster handler,
Thank
could you maybe tell us some things that you find interesting about the Epic Maw?
So the interesting thing about the Epic Maw, I think, first of all, is its blue coloration. We've previously discussed that the epics are sort of the ultimate form of any given monster species. We've obviously come across their common versions. Those are quite widespread, easy to come by. There's the rare versions, and then of course now we have these epic versions. And the blue one is interesting specifically because when the Maw was first being designed here at Big Blue Bubble, that was one of the color palettes that we were thinking of for the monster. And there's also a white variant that we have never really seen or observed since, but some elements of that art later made its way into the rare Maw, such as, of course, the presence of eyes. The common Maw, of course, has none. And the horns that it uses to grasp its favorite prey, cupcakes.
Which I believe we can see on the screen right now. Oh, it just disappeared. That's great.
But if you were tuning in, you could see that art there. And the other thing that's interesting, of course, about the Epic Maw is its distinctly sharpened teeth, which made it, of course, a dangerous creature to be approaching, as we did when we first observed it in the monster world in the footage during the Extra Life live stream. When some of the singing monsters were first being designed, we wanted to make sure that they were the kind of monsters that were approachable, that were friendly, that weren't all that menacing. So there's some of the art that you might have seen. Michael, if you could actually put that art back up on the stream. In an early design, you can see up there in the top left that the Maw originally had these very sharp teeth that it could use to latch on to things, but then in the interests of making the Maw a little bit more cuddly and less dangerous, those teeth ended up resembling, let's say, human teeth or herbivore teeth, but the Epic Maw brings those back in a big way, and of course we can't overlook the nose.
No.
The nose is the main attribute of the Epic Maw, and this past week on social, one of the members of our community was asking what the holes were on the side of the Epic Maw.
Because the regular Maw doesn't have holes.
That's right. They just have large sort of pink warts or pustules on them. So we did a little bit of research with the specimens that we had collected, and it's our understanding that they are actually auxiliary nasal tubing, sort of like a spiracle that helps the monster breathe, and that also helps it not catch too many colds. Although it is, of course, susceptible. It's flu season. It's that time of year.
It's a rough time to be a Maw.
That's right.
But on the note of other monsters, there are so many other epics out there. I thought maybe we could recap exactly how these epics came to be discovered.
I think that's a great idea.
So here's what I know, and you can confirm, as you are a great student, you are a particularly perfect pupil of Dr. Wardin Spurrit, whose contribution was great to all monster handling.
Certainly.
So, to recap events for everyone, there was an old recording of an interview with Dr. Spurrit that was uncovered.
That's right.
Now, somebody got a hold of it. Not us, but somebody.
We're not sure who, right? Yes.
It's still a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did is they attempted to upload it to our YouTube channel using pirate signals, which obviously kind of mixed up the video.
That's what happens with pirates.
There was all sorts of distortion from it. The colors inverted. It was the audio was hard to hear.
Coming in and out.
And there were pieces of the description and title that obviously didn't translate properly. Fortunately, with the help of our awesome community, they helped us piece together all these different elements. Once we got the video in order and unscrambled, we were able to hear the audio interview with Dr. Spurrit, and he seemed to be speaking from a time before even rares were discovered, very early in monster discovery, and he was theorizing that there must be other almost variants of monsters based on more extreme environments.
So I think that's a very good synopsis, Eric. What we know about Dr. Spurrit is that he was a naturalist who had a great affinity for the natural world of the human world, and we're still not sure of the details of this, but had some chance encounter, some serendipitous contact with the monster world, and was, of course, fascinated by it. At the time, his research wasn't really accepted as real. I'm not sure how much people actually believed him.
It would be hard to believe hearing that for the first time.
To begin with, but what Dr. Spurrit did is that based on his observations, he started to collect his field notes about the monster world in a journal. And I have this journal here today. You may have seen it. It was first debuted on our Extra Life live stream, but it contains all sorts of exciting and interesting facets of Dr. Spurrit's own research. And thanks to the contributions of the community, there are aspects of the journal which were sort of unknown to us because this is quite a weather-beaten artifact. There were lots of pages where the ink had smudged, certain pages had been ripped out, and so Dr. Spurrit, when first figuring out sort of the lay of the land of the monster world, had identified the 5 natural islands. And sort of got an understanding of their geography, what made them each unique, the fact that they had these elemental associations with each other, and the big discovery, or the big, I guess, theory of his was that the monsters that were widespread in the monster world could not have been the only versions of those monsters.
Right, not just new monsters, but variants of the ones he'd already seen.
That's exactly right.
Due to external elements, whether that be like the environment, the weather, the temperature.
Yeah, that was one of the major theories attached to the notion of rares that Dr. Spurrit put forward, which is that in extreme environmental conditions, certain populations of monsters would evolve, would take on these huge evolutionary traits that would make them uniquely suited to living in their respective environments. An example that springs to mind, of course, is the epic toe jammer, with its single solitary eye because it lives so far down in the abyssal zone of the living ocean, the fact that it has those anemone-like tendrils on its head, the clawed toes, those digits for latching onto coral beds, things like that. And so while Dr. Spurrit was only operating from a place of theory, we think we now know that he was on the right track.
Yeah, he definitely had the pieces of something, and you took that as inspiration for yourself to basically travel out with a small crew and a camera and try to find more variations than we had before.
That's right, and if you were sticking around with us this past anniversary month in September, those transmissions that various members of our community were debuting, were sharing, were actually collected during authentic expeditions into the monster world that were led by a small team of monster handlers. Now, you may recall that on the Extra Life stream, we sort of made, from an insurance standpoint, that we could no longer make those ventures into the monster world and that we would be looking for other ways to premiere our new discoveries when new epic monster species are located.
Of course, the Mon counter was a little bit too rough for our liking.
Yeah, that was a little close, a close call for me. So, and of course, Big Blue Bubble's insurance policies are great, but they do not extend to intradimensional travel.
Of course.
I don't know too many companies that do, to be honest with you, that do cover that.
It's a tough find.
It is a very tough find.
Now, with all that enlightening information, there are a lot of answers, but it also raised a lot of questions.
For sure. That's the big thing about the monster world. You know, you answer one question and then 5 more spring up after that one's been answered.
So on that note, how about we spring up some more questions for you from the audience?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's hit it. Right on the bubble, so to speak. Frank Aiello, and I'm sorry in advance if I butcher some of these names. Will we ever see Dr. Wardin E. Spurrit?
As a devoted follower of Dr. Spurrit's teachings. I can tell you that he was a notoriously shy man. I don't think any photographic evidence remains of his time among us. He did do some what appeared to be self-portraiture that's contained inside this document, but again, that's just speculation because they were never actually labeled. And as I mentioned before, there's some water damage, there's some, the sort of thing that happens when something passes through dimensions, a little bit of wear and tear. So we don't actually have any notion about what Dr. Wardin E. Spurrit actually looks like. This might be an interesting opportunity for the community to theorize what Dr. Spurrit might look like, but we have absolutely no plans. We don't have any official imagery.
So really all we have, because clearly he didn't have a problem being recorded in interviews since we have that audio.
That's right.
So maybe, based on that audio, if anyone in the community would like to theorize what Dr. Wardin E. Spurrit might look like, please post it on social media, hashtag it with My Streaming Monsters. We'd love to see what your thoughts are, because could be anything.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
Okay. Another question on the topic of epics. Why can't epics be teleported to Sugarbush Island? Asks Strimes Tweets 49.
Sugarbush Island is a very interesting island in the monster world because it is, first of all, flowing with legendary energies, and the sort of nature of the legendary element is that it shares a connection with the human world. That's why, of course, we're able to have such monsters as the Sugar Fan populated on it, and it almost sits somewhere on the seam of the monster world and the human world. So because we previously mentioned that epics are most at home and familiar with these extreme elemental environments, right now, because they've just been coaxed out of hiding, they're sort of content to dwell in their sort of natural habitats. That's not to say that epics won't be able one day to be teleported to Sugarbush Island, but I think they need a little bit more time out in the open. They've been in hiding for so long that right now it's just all about acclimatizing to seeing the rest of the other monsters.
It's very much an adjustment for them.
Absolutely.
Of course. How about, since Dr. Spurrit was interested in just general variations, the Stranger Pixels asks, are there going to be rare wubblins?
That is an interesting question. There's certainly there's no evidence right now that rare wubblins exist. However, it would make sense that the rare wubox shares the same affinity for creation as its common cousin. It's a bit more of a travel guru because, as you know, rare wubox journeyed to the human world and picked up all sorts of aspects of human technology on its way and rebuilt itself in human technology's image, and sings a couple of sort of distorted system messages.
Right.
So with respect to rare wubblins, we're not sure yet whether that would be a collaboration between common wubox and rare wubox, whether that would be an undertaking taken totally by rare wubox. And while there's no evidence that exists right now, if there's anything that the discovery of epics has taught us is that there's lots out there.
There's more out there
that we haven't discovered. And the interesting thing about wubblins themselves, of course, is that they are, relatively speaking, some of the newest monsters in the monster world because, of course, they were created by the wubox and given the spark of life by zapping eggs from breeding structures. So if rare wubblins were ever to spring into existence, they would be some of the youngest monsters that we would ever have discovered.
Well, another question about the wubblins from Alyssa Dickles. Have the wubblins explored other islands to meet new monster friends?
Wubblin Island was chosen by the wubox and sort of created in part by the wubox's supernatural energies to be isolated, because from the safety of the wubox's workshop, wanted to make sure that the family, the supernatural family that the wubox was expanding upon, was done in secret. It was very low-key, very subterfugative about its creative efforts. So Wublin Island was deliberately chosen by the Woboks to be quite isolated from the rest of the islands, and because it is coursing with the supernatural element of electricity, there is a very strong storm system that surrounds Wublin Island. So right now, getting to and from Wublin Island is a very harrowing and difficult task for any monsters. While we're not entirely sure that there haven't been any expeditions off the island, the Wublins sort of keep to themselves for now. I think that possibly there's some sort of messaging that's happening between them and other monsters, sort of like a pen pal relationship. I don't know if any of them have ever actually ventured off the island, but I think they're striving to make contact outside. Probably will never leave their Wublin Island home, but in terms of visits, I'd say that it's certainly possible.
Well, that's very exciting. I hope to see that one day. eMizzle94 wants to know, what's so different about epic monsters? What makes them better than normal monsters? Now, would you say better?
Better is an interesting term. Different, certainly, but what is better about epic monsters from a gameplay standpoint is that both their coin production rates and their max currency rates are a lot higher than either the common or rare variants. So, if you're the kind of player who's interested in maximizing your currency input and making sure that you're generating the most amount of coins that you can on a given island, epics are your best bet to become quite loaded with currency, and they're some of the best efficiency coin production per bed ratio that exists in My Singing Monsters.
Awesome. eMizzle94 hits us with an immediate follow-up question. Will epics be introduced to Composer Island?
Composer Island is another example of an island that sits sort of on the seam between the monster world and the human world. I'm not entirely sure. The fact that there are no rares yet on Composer Island is interesting. We have, of course, introduced rares to My Singing Monsters Composer, the standalone app. But as we previously mentioned on the Extra Life live stream, the My Singing Monsters Composer app exists sort of in a creative playground dream space. It's not necessarily a canon aspect of the monster world. It sort of has its separate storyline. It's where the musical nature of each of these monsters has been distilled down to its finest form and sort of given to you as tools for creating your own monstrous melodies. So, as far as Composer Island is concerned, we're not entirely sure yet. If they ever were to be introduced, I would expect that rares would also make their way there, but Composer Island is an interesting case because of the point that I mentioned, that it does share this relationship with the human world, but is still so rooted in the monster world as well. So that's a long way of saying we're not sure.
As we would say in the Extra Life stream, stumped.
Oh man, I got stumped.
Tubby Bloxian wants to know, will epics have the ability to breed with other monsters?
A great question. Epics, because they are so uniquely evolved with these amazing adaptations, as of right now, cannot breed. Another thing that we've learned about the monster world, just in the same way that answering one question opens up other questions, there's all sorts of endless possibilities as far as the monster world is involved. So, whereas epic monsters may not currently be able to breed, there may be some future promotion where that ability is unlocked. It may be something that they're able to do once all of the epics have been discovered. That's quite a bit of ways in the future. Obviously, as I mentioned, the epic Maws is only the 10th epic monster to be discovered. So, another example of we're not entirely sure yet, but if there's anything that we've learned, it's that outside forces can influence the course of monster history. So,
Yes.
We'll see.
Fascinating stuff. I can't wait to see what else that turns up. On the note of normal monsters, excuse me, that dog Rascal 1 wants to know, how do Maws usually act? Maybe as opposed to the one that got a little in your face, the epic variety.
There is a line in the common Maws bio that mentions that they are mouthy and also tonguey. So, as monsters that basically have one big mouth as their sensory organ that they use to explore the world, it's not unusual for a Maw to greet you mouth first. And while this may be off-putting to some other monsters, or of course jarring for the monster handlers to experience, it's just their way of getting to know the world around them. So Maws are, I think, instinctively curious creatures who like to get a sense of what's going on around them, and they're very friendly as well. But they can be a lot. They're very extra. That's the way I'll put it.
Extra Nah, maybe not. Nah, maybe not. I'd love to sneak this question in since we know Spooktical just happened.
That's right.
Very exciting time, specifically for Punkleton.
Mm-hmm.
Sombrero Pickle would like to know, does Blabbit like Halloween? And I'll tell you why I specifically appreciate this question. Because Sombrero Pickle is also the user who won our costume contest, specifically by putting a costume on Blabbit. So I think it's very rational that he would like to know, does that winning entry, does Blabbit like Halloween?
So the seasonal monsters have had an interesting relationship over the course of monster history. Some of you who have been around for the entire time that My Singing Monsters has been around may remember that at one point they were referred to as special edition monsters, and then only later did they take up this seasonal mantle.
I didn't know that.
You're learning new things all the time. But the interesting thing is that when seasonals are not participating in their respective seasonal events on the various natural islands, their activities, what they do during the rest of the year, is largely unknown. We've sort of covered that certain monsters go into hiding, certain monsters are migratory. We know, for example, that Yule, for the Festival of Yay, travels by comet.
Right.
We know that schmoochels are migratory animals who travel in flocks together and can go for extended periods of time without landing. And that blabbits, of course, travel by the bubbles that they form. So, to get back to the original question, do blabbits like Halloween? Seasonals instinctively have an affinity for each other, which is why they're so excited when they're able to reunite on Gold Island. So every seasonal likes each other's seasonal event, and in a relationship that's sort of similar to Jack Skellington figuring out the other holidays, they have an interest in and an excitement to celebrate each other's events. So definitively, yes, it is now canon that Blabbit likes Halloween.
Awesome.
And Spooktical.
Now, on a game mechanic related question, since we haven't answered too many of those yet, are you working on the new castle upgrade?
So, as we all know, the current topmost form of the castle on your islands is the gold-colored Paradise Castle. This is, of course, crafted in the image of the Crystal Castle that belongs exclusively on Gold Island, and which actually works as sort of a power generator for the monster world. That's the topmost tier of the castle right now. Obviously, with the discovery of epics, we're soon going to be fit to burst. Now, we did recently introduce upgrades for the hotel,
right,
the enhanced Grand Hotel and the hyper-enhanced Grand Hotel. So more of your monsters can be collected and live on any given island at any given time. But of course, we're trying to make sure that as many different kinds of monsters can exist on an island at once. So yes, we are currently working on tweaking and optimizing what sort of castle upgrade might follow Paradise, because how do you follow up Paradise? Right, that's a whole other plane of existence. That's a whole other metaphysical quandary for the monster handlers to try and figure out. So, we're working on it.
I have an answer.
Okay.
Just a room full of pie.
Room full of pie?
I love me some pie.
Is that a good segue into our activity?
You know what? I think it might be. So,
what you're hearing, what you may be hearing, is related to the activity that's coming up. This is all Maws, no Paws.
You got it.
Oh, I'm
all
glad
Maws, No Paws.
I'm glad I got that name correct.
Fitting with the epic Maw theme of the episode, we are currently whipped creaming a pie tin full of Cheerios. Now, that might already make perfect sense to you, but let me elaborate. We have hidden inside of these Cheerios one special...
Emoji.
It's an emoji. We've hidden an emoji in the Cheerios because that makes more sense than just a pie tin of Cheerios.
Yes, that does.
And what Michael and I will be doing is putting our hands behind our back, no pause,
Aha!
and going face first into the whipped cream, only Maws, and trying to find the emoji. This will inevitably be a little messy, but it should be a lot of fun.
I
And
should get the napkins in case.
Monster Handler
Here,
Matt.
I'll be in charge of napkins. Michael, you come in because you, of course, will be participating. Say hi to Michael, everybody, who's joining us. He's been
Just tuck the seats in.
tuck the seats in.
Yes.
Okay. And I will be poised back here to assess who has correctly and
also
most
moves.
quickly discovered the hidden emoji.
I think this is gonna be harder than I thought.
Yeah, well, now you get to experience what life is like for a Maw, right? Where there's no way of tactilely interacting with the world other than with your mouth.
And I'm sure soon enough we won't be even able to see, much like.
Much like Maw, who
Yeah.
is eyeless.
Now, there's no way to show this on camera, but a small congregation has appeared outside of this window
To witness
watch
this
us.
momentous event.
Oh boy.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna tuck this. I'm gonna tuck
A little
this
more.
chair in a little
do the-
more.
you
so
do the
we've got
countdown
a little
for
bit
us
more.
here.
Okay, so if you're with us
Smells good.
in the chat, well, that's good. At least it won't be. It'll be an appetizing experience for you.
As long as I don't eat the emoji.
Maybe. All right, so be careful. All right, are we ready? If you're
Yes.
following along on the stream, you can count down with us. I'm going to count down from 10, so type along with in the chat. So here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I should take my glasses off.
Do you want me to take your glasses
What was I
off?
thinking?
Okay, so you're really... So an update. Both of them are really going for it.
I can beat.
I'm looking. Oh my goodness, there's so much. Careful there. Michael, you don't want to lose that on the ground. So,
There better be an emoji in here.
yes, that would be quite the surprise if at the end of all this it was just an exercise in consuming whipped cream Cheerios.
Not bad though.
Well, that's good. Here, I'm just going to slide this a little over this
Thank
way so
you.
that you don't lose it. Now, because I'm not sure, is the emoji printed on the bottom, or it's just a small thing that you need to be finding with your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
This is unprecedented. They're still both going for it. Oh. Oh, this is. What do you have? Hey, I'm happy to report that Michael is the winner of our All Maws No Paws challenge. Let's give him a round of applause.
Oh my goodness. That was much worse than I thought it was.
This is a good look. You know, I was mentioning earlier that we had never seen a white Maw in the wild, despite that being one of the color palettes that we first considered for Maw. But I think we might have seen a white Maw
I just
today
like to
based on
confirm
the cream.
that mine was actually in here.
It was in there. You're all good.
Well, yeah, try and limit your mess. And for reference,
Yes, of course.
this is the sort of visibility that Monster Handler Merrick, who's that? Monster Handler Eric had during this. This
I don't know.
exciting
I can't find this
undertaking.
emoji. I hope
It's
I-
in there. You can go back and take a look.
What we have to make sure of is
We're gonna
that
go fan corner
Dr.
now.
Spurrit's journal is not
Thank you.
damaged during this time of great messiness.
Okay. Well,
So I'm gonna go pop it over
Oh.
here.
throw it in there.
All right, I'll finish cleaning up,
Yeah, don't worry. We
Behind
can
the
clean up-
scenes.
Yes.
and I will let you guys get on with the fan art spotlight.
Yes,
Alright.
it is the Monsterpiece Spotlight section. You know, a lot of what we wanted to do with the show was interact with you guys, spotlight a lot of the great stuff we see all the time. We were doing that at Extra Life. And so we thought that this would be a great opportunity to do that. So, I know we do have some stuff from the stream, as well as some Epic Maw stuff. Eric, you want to give us our first one?
There it is.
Beautiful.
There it is up on the
So,
screen.
who made this wonderful piece of art we got over here?
Oh, sorry, I'm still clearing my vision of this.
Eric is still wiping whipped cream out of his eyes.
That would appear to be by Snooky Zenho.
Snooky Zenho with this wonderful, that is a rare and epic together?
No, this is an epic toe jammer.
Oh, yeah, I was
an
going to say,
epic
no.
maw.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was wonderful. I think one of the first epic maw pieces that we were able to see.
Certainly, it came in very soon. You can see the spiracles on the side of the epic maw there quite visibly, and a great example of the adaptations of the maw and toe jammer in their new environments, i.e., the nose and the lack of two eyes on epic toe jammer. I particularly like the line art, the contour that happens here, and the fact that they're sitting sort of on all white versions of themselves. That's a very cool effect, sort of like a bright shadow, if such a thing could exist.
Can we see the next one there, sir?
Here it
Hey!
comes. And this one is by Not Mantis Boy.
Not Mantis
Not
Boy.
Mantis Boy. This one intrigues me because, of course, we have a recognizable epic fur corn. But who's that on the left?
Oh, that would be the fan-made monster.
This is their fan-made
Oh.
monster. It almost looks like it could be
Another variant
yes,
of the fur corn.
Exactly. One that almost like plays horns of some sort.
Indeed, in place of ears, they have those large sort of bells attached to the side of their head, and as well as the series that also almost look like the valves on a trumpet on top there. Certainly very musically inspired, and looks like it may also have some scups inspiration there in the fact that it has sort of suction cup looking feet. Yes, I like this a lot. I also like the expression on epic fur corn. Very, very jovial.
Yeah.
Very happy.
As he always is.
Yes.
He's a happy boy. What do we got next?
Ooh.
Yes, I believe we saw this during the stream. This is a version, correct? A new version of, I believe Diane made this during the stream.
Mm-hmm.
The Phoenix version of Kana.
Kana, that's right.
So this is another artistic render of it. Who's this by?
This is Sombrero Pickles.
Sombrero Pickles. A lovely, lovely.
I like the attention to detail of the flames erupting from both the wings and the head of this version of Kana. It almost looks like Kana is at a masquerade ball with that metallic-looking mask that's placed over the face.
One might say it's an epic-looking
Oh,
Kana.
Very interesting observation.
Eric, I know you were happy to see this.
Another Sombrero Pickle piece coming up.
A live sketch of Monster Handler Eric playing video games. I think it really captures your
inner ear.
Yes, and you know, I know that that's a hoodie that you're wearing, but it also looks like you might have some puppy dog ears if you were to look at it from another angle. Very cute.
Very nice. I know. When we saw that on Monday morning, you were quite happy.
Oh, maybe those were the Eeyore ears.
Yes, he was dressed up as Eeyore.
That's
we were playing
that's
Fortnite.
the one, right? Of course.
Squad up.
Yeah, squad up.
An amazing growl costume.
Yes. Halloween just came.
Exceptional attention to detail here. The individual colors of the feathers on the wings.
If I'm not mistaken, this is not normal Glow. This is young Glow.
That's right. Not the adult form that appears on the outer islands, but instead the one that resides on the continent. How can we tell this? Because it has the two feathered flame tails as opposed to the three that the adult grows.
Exactly.
And that was from Sonia Beijing.
Thank you.
And the next one comes in from Alyssa Dickles.
Alyssa Dickles, while on the stream, one of the things we asked for was obviously Fortnite Victory Royale, and then I think it may have come up in the chat that somebody wanted to see Petite playing Fortnite, and so we asked for that, and a wonderful, I'm sure, Bona is also playing.
Is hanging around.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
I
or perhaps going to go get snacks.
Could be.
Because you can't game without snacks.
No, and I imagine, definitely a part of Petite Squad would be Bona. It makes just too much sense.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got next?
This one is from Eric Turkhurst.
Eric Turkhurst. This is a Luigi shrub, and it's a rare shrub.
That's right.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
Which would go with Wah Shrub, which another thing that came up in the Extra Life stream. If you haven't watched any of that, I know we've posted a bunch of it, or we are posting a bunch of it on our YouTube, and you can always go back and look at some of the
I'm sure those shoes
stuff.
would need to be cobbled. I don't think you could buy those in a store.
Definitely.
They've got some interesting dimensions on them.
And this next one is a Maw-inspired piece, with it being Epic Maw Week. It's a Maw family.
It is. It's all three of them getting along. I wonder, this is sort of a see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil sort of thing. Except instead of evil, it's just cupcakes.
Yes, exactly.
Eat no cupcakes, smell no cupcakes, see no cupcakes.
And that is from Miguel, 757-34495.
Thank you, Miguel. Let me get that number. I got it right here. 757-344-95.
I like that expression on the rare Maw.
I really like the common one. I think he just looks like such a goofball.
He does look like a goofball.
Ah, of course.
The next entry from Bogart fan.
Bogart fan. Yeah, I believe it was I who said this during the stream. I leaned back.
The now iconic quote.
Furcorn, give me strength. We love that. I know that Chad at the time loved it, and it has inspired us that we later on played a Jackbox game, and one of the things, somebody drew a shirt that said Furcorn, give me strength. And so actually, we do have something to announce. We are going to be making a Furcorn, give me strength shirt, which you can see it there. It is just a mock-up. It should be in our Amazon store probably next week. But yeah.
Is there any way to zoom in on the detail on that shirt?
Make it big,
There.
bigify it, and then that should be good.
Yes, there it is. Looks
Transition
great
over to it.
with that stained glass imagery. I think it really hammers home the sentiment that you were trying to express.
Yes, Furcorn gave me strength.
When caught up in the stresses of competitive video game watching.
Exactly. And with that, I think that should be all for our Monsterpiece Spotlight. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that is the last piece for today.
If you didn't see your art featured, be sure to make sure that you're including the hashtag MyStreamingMonsters on your submissions. And we've got a huge repository of other art that we'll be reviewing and taking a look at in future episodes of My Singing Monsters Live. So despair not. If your art was not featured today, it'll probably make its way through at some point.
Especially, I know multiple suggestions were given throughout this show, and I think those are things that we will specifically follow up with next time for sure. So we love seeing the art. Keep it coming, and you too can be spotlighted on Monsterpiece
Or
Spotlight.
Spotlit.
And so this brings us to, I think, our last sort of big thing that I'm sure
One of
many
the
people
most
have been waiting.
anticipated aspects of the first episode here are Epic Maw giveaway.
And with that, I believe Monster Handler Sydney has been watching the chat, following along with you, and she has randomly selected somebody from the viewer. Today's winner is...
Shall I announce it?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, today's winner of the Epic Maw is...
It's a very fitting name, I must say.
For the Epic Maw
Yes.
specifically, it is user Taco Burger Munch.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So, if you were not with us, yes, obviously just send us a little private message on Twitch, whisper at us.
Including your BBBID or friend code so that we know which account to gift your free brand new Epic Maw to. And without much further ado, I think that's just about all we have
I think
in the programming for today.
The one thing that we do want to leave you with before you go here, Eric, can you put up, it should be the top thing, the link to the survey? There we go, it's transition to. So this is an evolving process. We're trying to figure out what works, what you guys want. So we've created a little survey. If you could take that, that would be greatly appreciated. What do you guys want to see? What did you like? What didn't you like? What time works best for you? What day works best for you?
Helps us make My Singing Monsters Live the best that it can be.
Yes, we really want to make this a show that is for you guys, and so getting your feedback on that is greatly appreciated. So yeah, if you just go to that link, and I do know we will also be posting something on social following this, where you can also go directly through that link. But I believe, as for episode 001, that's about it. Hopefully you all enjoyed it.
I know I had fun.
Yeah.
It's always great to learn about the creativity and the curiosity of the community, because there are so many questions left to answer and so much left to explore that we've got a long road ahead of us, and we're happy that you're along for the ride with us.
I think there's only one thing to say before we go, and that would be
Happy monstering.